I was wondering what I forgot to do. I was like, I know I forgot to do something. Yeah, I have to like manually mute my mic. Hang on a second, let me just very gently turn down Yeah, there we go. Alright. Yeah, hey everybody. Happy Friday. I hope the day was restful and or productive for y'all. Yeah, I had to mute manually. I have to mute manually now because of the way like, my dual audio setup is done. Because all of the audio from both my regular computer and and I may have to like adjust this a little bit. In retrospect, I should probably do the audio on the streaming computer. I think that's what I was supposed to do, and I completely forgot. Whoops. Haha. I should do it that way, because that way I won't mess up and accidentally stream through sound that I'm not supposed to. But anyway, happy Friday. I hope the day was restful and or productive for y'all. I'm doing pretty good. The last couple of days have been a lot, in a lot of ways. But all things considered, I'm doing all right. I kind of just needed like 2 days off from work, really. But I'm okay. But I just... I didn't sleep super well last night, but that was just more of a. I tried to go to bed early. I woke up early and then literally couldn't sleep, and then literally couldn't go back to sleep. So it's more of a lull, more of a, like a lull. Guess I played myself thing. But yeah, hey Shark, hey Kettle, and hey Stubby. And also, yes, happy Trans Day of Visibility. Whether you are lurking or actively up and around in chat, if if you celebrate, by which I mean everybody pretty much should, but especially trans people should, because you are loved, you are beautiful, you are exactly who you should be and need to be. And that's pretty much all that there is to it. If any of that sounds like weird to you, then this is not the place for you to be. You should relocate yourself. If you're like, that all sounds weird, I don't like any of that. It's like, huh, funny. That sucks. Sleeping is always a fucking hassle. Yeah. Yeah. I'll manage, honestly. And this is the main reason why, like, when people are like, you gotta go to bed early, you gotta get lots of rest, it's like, you don't understand that I literally wake up in the middle of the night every time I go to bed early. And so usually the best way for me to, like, sleep straight through is to stay up late, by most standards. Because otherwise, like, I'll literally I'll wake up at, like, 5 or 6 in the morning, and it's way too much of a pain in the ass to go back to sleep. So, you know. So, as Nightbot has reminded us, though, it is also... I need to go turn off the light in the back in a second, and I will. But, as a reminder, this is, pretty much the last stream that you get a chance to vote for the fighting games that we're going to be playing in April. So, Nightbot just kindly reminded us a couple minutes ago. So, if you haven't already gone to go vote, go up there, go vote. You don't have to be like in like the gilded community or anything like that in order to vote in the poll. It is a ranked voting system. So basically, whatever games get to the top 4 are the 4 games that we're playing next month. So if you have a vested interest in seeing me play Guilty Gear Xrd or some other fighting game that's listed on there, you gotta exercise that right and go and vote. Mood, I'm the same when I've had it. Yeah. So that's why most of the time it's like, why are you going to bed at like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning? It's like, because if I go to bed any earlier, I'm gonna wake up at like 4 or 5. And that is not like you're just too used to like staying up late and that's why you can't. Like, no, my body is not wired. My body is not wired to like stay knocked the fuck out unless I'm sick. I'm not wired to sleep that long. It just doesn't go. I have tried it, it doesn't go. I'm built for cat naps, honestly. Yeah. And I don't get to nap often, even when I'm working from home. And it's one of those things where once I wake up after I've fallen asleep, even if it's just for a little bit, I'm super groggy for a while. So I should be built for naps, but it's one of those things where like I can't be expected to. I have to wake up if I'm gonna nap, and I know I have something to do after the nap. I have to wake up. I have to basically set my waking up time for the nap at least a little bit before I have to do anything, or I'm gonna just like groggy out and not actually do the thing correctly. But alas, so such is my life. Okay, so Those Fighting Herds has a couple of updates to process. So once it's done, I'm going to switch it over. Alright, perfect. Alright. It is stream of shit. Not especially, I don't think. Let me turn down this audio a little bit so I can hear myself think. What if I told you that your community made plans? I'm not going to object, but also when the fuck did y'all have time? And who the fuck have you been talking to? I have no issues with that, to be clear. But I'm also just like, when did y'all have time and who decided this? Training my body to power nap has been useful. Nothing like having a 3-hour dream and only 15 minutes past by on the clock. Yeah, that also helps. Okay, I just need my controller to actually respond, please. That would be great. You know, I don't want to exit OBS, oh my god. So I have a choice. Okay. Hang on a sec. Herds, why are you doing this to me? Herds, you had one job. Your job was to work correctly. Please stop being a pain and just do the thing that I am asking. Try this again. So we at least got, I know that we were getting sound that time. It's just that now, for whatever reason, my controller was not being recognized. So let's try that again. Do you want my present now? End of stream. Off cam at some point. Well, Sunday is the day that's actually closest, so whatever it is that y'all have planned, you might as well do it then. Okay, now I need to figure out why my controller is not being, why my arcade stick is not being recognized. So, great, we get to kind of fuck around with this a little bit until Steam decides to stop playing in my face and actually do the thing that needs to be done. Cool. But we do have sound this time, right? Like, y'all hear these sick beats? Well, sort of. Well, okay, minus the whole it gets quieter when I'm not talking thing. Like that, yeah, that's gonna just be what it is because of the way that the audio is coming through. It's gonna do that thing because it's mixing it's still mixing the volume from both like last time. So I also did turn down the actual game audio a little bit because it was loud enough that like I couldn't hear myself think for like half a second. So that's probably why it's a little more noticeably not as loud as like Legaia was because I turned that up a little bit the last time I was playing that. Okay, give me a second, y'all, because because for some reason my controller is doing some bullshit and it's getting on my nerves. Okay, hold on a second. Yeah, because for whatever reason my controller's doing some bullshit and it's not working correctly. It's getting on my nerves. I didn't lock it, so it shouldn't be doing... Why is my controller not being recognized? Ariel, my love, I need you to not be doing this right now. You were literally cool last week, Ariel. Don't do this to me, please. Yeah, for whatever reason. Of course, it's not recognized. Alright, hold on. Okay, so it... Vice manager. Okay. Yeah, come on now. Like, we're not doing this, right? So the pointer devices, sound, video, and game controllers. Okay. Like, I should have... Okay, so it's there, but for whatever reason, them's fighting herds is making the decision to not work correctly. Alright, try this again. Okay. There we go. Fucking Steam input. Alright.
Take your pick.
Okay, so let's see. At some point I probably should buy this guy, but that point is not today.
Shanty.
Captain on the bridge! Well, not yet, but soon!
Home.
I don't want to be here!
Alright. And buttons are saved from last time I did this. Okay, cool. So, them's fighting herds. Sorry for the wait, y'all. My controller was just deciding to be a piece of butt. So, as a reminder of how this game works and what it's about. Every character has 4 buttons, right? A, B, C for light, medium, heavy. You can generally go from standing to crouching with most characters. Sometimes there are some exceptions to how you can do that. And every character has a launcher. If you do down, forward, and heavy, every character has a launcher, right? That you can then jump, cancel, and do stuff with. Again, what sort of sets them fighting herds apart insofar as like its specific unique thing is that every character has a unique take on the magic system. So you can see that there's that little circular bar that fits above my super meter bar on the bottom, right? For Shanty, it fills up very slowly over time unless I do 2-2 or down and the A button. Depending on whether I tap A or hold it, it has different effects, right? So most notably, right, when Shanty's magic meter is full, I am allowed to use her stance, which has a number of follow-ups after it. For example, stance, charge, stance, overhead, stance, low. I can stance and backdash. And with at least one stock of magic, I can do things like wall stick and kind of drop and pop on people. Right? And that's basically, and so Shanty's main thing, right, is that, and we talked about this a bit like last stream, Shanty is what we call a rushdown character. She specializes in like getting up in people's faces and bullying them with buttons. To that point, she also has a unique version of a jump where she can do like a very short hop instead of like a full arced jump, which can be used to set up things like fake overheads like this. Right, you can do fake overheads like this, real overheads, right, and sort of other such things of that nature. Aside from that, she has the ability to use certain versions of her Cutlass Super, so 236 heavy, right? She's rushdown, but not a gorilla. Accurate-ish, yeah, I think. Now I want to go look at how, what's his face defines that, just to be sure that I'm not. Alright. If I can spell it would help. Yeah. Kinda, yeah. Like, the main thing that sort of limits her from that, yeah, that assessment is about accurate. The primary thing that limits her from doing that is mostly the fact that, for Shanty in particular, you need magic in order to really, like, get her offense going. You have options to use without it. If you don't have magic with Shanty, you have things that you can do, but, it's only until you get magic that you really get, like, the full suite of the options that she really has access to. And so without magic, right, you're limited in that, while she's still very agile and can move very quickly, a lot of her, like, really scary and sort of obnoxious options come from being able to do things like, for example, even if somebody, for example, is like blocking your attacks like this, right? You can, in fact, cancel out of stance almost immediately after you enter it by pressing the D button again. So it's one of those things where if you are playing a Shanty, right, and you're doing something, and somebody happens to block you, and you're like, okay, crap, I gotta... Hang on. Being a goat, I imagine a head charge, kinda. It has a very specific purpose. You use it for getting past projectiles. You have to time it very carefully so that you can get the actual frames to pass through a given projectile. But it can be a really good way of like covering distance. And as I learned on the what's the word? Even when you're in the corner, for example, this is the thing I learned from getting my shit pushed in last Friday by another Shanty. It does actually allow you to do like it does also allow you to do a wall splat, which is pretty useful, but they have to be kind of in the air already. A rushdown character that option get past poke sounds like... I mean, that's sort of... Like, the main thing is that, like, again, you use headbutt to get past projectiles. Projectiles are not a poking tool, they're a zoning tool. Right? Projectiles are not a poking tool, necessarily. They can be sometimes, but most of the time a projectile is a zoning tool, right? And you may be wondering, what's the difference? Well, aside, you can check with FGC Glossary if you want something more in depth, but really with poking, or the idea behind a poke, is that you can have long-range pokes, but usually they are done via your normals, right? Where it's like, I'm putting out a button to kind of like test the thing that you're doing. Versus a projectile, which is like actively used for zoning, because it's locking down space for an extended period of time, usually in like a moving fashion, but that lets you kind of like do other stuff. You can zone without using projectiles, but projectiles are not usually used for poking. Usually. There are obviously exceptions to these things, but yeah. And Shanty can work past certain pokes, yeah? Like if somebody's doing like a low and I somersault over it, then yeah, that counts. But like to a certain degree, mid-range pokes will stuff Shanty out unless you're doing specific things to avoid like lows and things like that. So it's like 50-50. She can get past pokes, but it depends on what is being thrown out, and it's not always like it's always not like a hard and fast thing where it's like, oh yeah, I can use headbutt and always get past the move that somebody's doing. They have it's like just a thing where it's like very specific purposes for very specific times. Poking's main purpose is to output low-risk damage. Zoning is about keeping someone kind of, sort of. Okay, so that's accurate. Okay, it's two separate questions that are coming up. So, a poke... Yeah, basically, right, a poke is... you don't necessarily poke somebody. Well, pokes, words are hard. All right, this is the way that I kind of think of it, right? If you're throwing pokes at somebody, sometimes the point is to put out low risk damage, but sometimes it's also more of like a stationary kind of grounded check that has a little bit less committal than, for example, using a fireball. So you can, for example, you can poke people, you can zone, like that's why I was saying, you can zone people without using, this is weird and kind of hard to describe. Kettle, I'll answer your question in a second. But basically, like the way that you think about it is that, at least the way that I think about it, is that in some ways, poking is a subset of zoning, but the main objective of a poke is mostly about like checking people, right? Whereas zoning is, let me in fact just not make a fool out of myself and look at the glossary. Yeah, so it's not inaccurate. I'll put it like that, Stubby. But the main thing is that yeah, so let me revise what I was saying a little bit. You're correct, but the main thing in particular is that while there are certain... It's one of those things where it's like... With Shanty in particular, right? She has ways of working around people's pokes. You're correct about that. But in terms of like things where it's like, okay, yeah, headbutt. Headbutt is very specifically an anti-zoning tool and not an anti-poking tool. And the reason why I say that it's very specifically an anti-zoning tool is because Headbutt will still lose to normals, I think. To my knowledge, it's not armored or otherwise invincible. So, can I use it to go through fireballs? Absolutely. Can I use it to, like, deal with pokes? Not really. Like, somebody should be able to poke me out of that. Like, if I go for Headbutt, I should be able to get hit out of that. Right? Hey, Sandals. How's it? But yeah, like... Yeah, okay. In retrospect, yeah. There are ways for Shanty to get around low pokes in particular. So you're not actually... So I'll take back the thing I was going to say, Stubby. You're pretty accurate in terms of, like, yeah, Shanty can get past pokes, but it's not... the way that she does that is a little bit different. It's not, like, covered by stance exactly. And it's one of those things where you're committing a little bit if you're trying to, like, get past it. It's not, like, a free thing, sort of. So you're right. She can get around and past pokes, but you have to know what specifically... you have to know what type of profile you're going for. So I'll take back what I said, where I was trying to go different with that. You're pretty much accurate. Herds is fine. I'm just kind of warming up a little bit. Okay, so, Kettle. The question you're actually answering is, do other fighting game companies do crossover fighters? To which my answer is yes. That's not a Capcom thing. That was never exclusively a Capcom thing. Multiverses exists, for example. Nickelodeon All-Star Battle Royale. BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle. Yeah, like crossover fighting games are not exclusive to Capcom. Yeah, KOF is technically, yeah, not even technically. KOF basically is a crossover. It's just that at this point, most people know KOF better than most of the series that it's crossing over with anyway. But yeah, like the crossover fighter was never specifically just like Capcom's thing. Yes. The proof with it with King of Fighters is that Art of Fighting, Fatal Fury... So basically at this point, KOF has been running long enough that it has enough of its own original characters that you forget that. But some of the key characters that are from other SNK titles in the King of Fighters... Ryo Sakazaki, Robert Garcia, Yuri Sakazaki, King are all from Art of Fighting. Takuma, when he's in these games, he's also an Art of Fighting character. Fatal Fury, Terry, Andy, Joe, Kim Kapuan, Chong and Choi, and a number of other characters from Fatal Fury. Ralph and Clark are from Ikari Warriors. Athena and Kensu are from this really old platformer that SNK used to do called Athena. Darly Dagger, Haomaru, and Nakaru are all Samurai Showdown characters. Rock Howard is technically also a Fatal Fury character. It's just that he's coming from like a game in the timeline that's not normally called Fatal Fury. Yeah, but KOF has been a crossover fighter from the very... Fatal Fury Fatal Fury did have an anime after the games came out. But yeah, KOF has always been a crossover series. It's just that the number of characters that are original to KOF now more or less exceed the characters from the crossover series. Pretty much. But KOF has always been a crossover series. It's always been between Fatal Fury, Art of Fighting, Ikari Warriors, Athena are the four main games, plus whatever KOF original characters are there. But the Fatal Fury, and to that end, right? Fatal Fury is getting a new entry sometime. We don't know when. SNK has said that it's coming. Not gonna lie, I just want to see Marvel vs. DC, but in fighting form, that happened already. I think so, didn't it? No, I'm thinking DC versus Mortal Kombat. Never mind. I'm full of crap. Sorry. DC versus Mortal Kombat was what I was thinking of. Lol, Lamau. Never mind me. Marvel versus DC in fighting form, I think it could happen, but basically that would involve, at this point, depending on who has the license. Because NetherRealm was the last team that was making a fighting game that was related to DC at all. And I have no idea if we're really ever going to get an Injustice 3, because DC is kind of a mess anyway. DC is kind of a mess. I just want to punch Batman as Jubilee. Simple wants, really. Yeah. The main problem, yeah. I'm not going to say problem as in don't get your hopes up, but problem as in based on the way that Marvel is currently handling its properties, right? Yeah, it will never happen because DC is a shit show. And the thing about Marvel in particular is that Marvel right now is, because of the way that they are approaching things as being really, to a certain degree, over-centered on the way that the MCU is, right? And this is sort of the issue with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, which was like the last Marvel and Capcom crossover game. At that point, right, with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, aside from the fact that they probably really understaffed the team that was working on it, right, the main thing is that because by the time Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite was a thing, right, I want to say that Marvel was like really obsessed about like, they want the cinematic universe to be the representative of basically everything. They want the cinematic universe to be the representative of everything Marvel now, right? And so with the older, and it was already kind of starting to happen a little bit with Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, a little, not that much, because I say a little because that's how we got like Rocket Raccoon and things like that. Even though Rocket Raccoon in that game doesn't really, Rocket Raccoon in Marvel vs. Capcom 3 does not resemble his like movie counterpart, but that was around the time when the Guardians of the Galaxy, comics-wise, if I'm remembering my timing correctly, was beginning to kind of like get a little bit of revitalization, right? But by the time Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite came out, like, yeah, Marvel was really, really like obsessively digging in on, the whole thing where they really, 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 really want people to only think about the MCU when they think about Marvel stuff, which is a problem to me. And that's primarily because, the reason why I say that is because it has a tendency to, yeah, in my point of view, it has a tendency to like overly condense what people are and are not allowed to do with with like the characters, right? And that winds up causing issues in that. So case in point, right? If you look at X-Men versus Street Fighter, or like Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter, or a lot of the older Marvel versus games, right? When you look at a lot of the older ones, and you look at how they
Take your pick.
are kind of like set up,
Shanty.
Ain't no treasure safe for me.
like a lot of the character picks in those games are really kind of loose, right?
It's mine.
Round one. Fight.
You got it.
Hang on. Focus face for a second.
Take off. And you got
Fair. Got it. Alright. Yeah. Like, the main thing is that because of how focused, right, Marvel is on, like, it's gotta, everybody has to be able to recognize our characters with their MCU, blah, blah, blah. Because they won't stop doing that, it causes this problem where characters who basically right now have no presence in the MCU don't get to make it into Marvel games, right? Like, they just don't get to at all. And that's a problem. And because when you look, right? Because then you look at, for example, like X-Men Children of the Atom, right? Like, when you look at like X-Men Children of the Atom, right? Which was like,
over there.
that was like Capcom's first thing where they're like, let's make a fighting game, right? Like, basically, X-Men Children of the Atom was kind of like the base of the Marvel vs. Capcom games, right? Like, that's what started it. And when you look at who's in that game, you get Spiral, Psylocke, Psylocke,
Looking snippy.
right? And that's the funny thing, right? Because, like, Children of the Atom didn't even have, like, Jean Grey wasn't playable in Children of the Atom either, right? Like, we didn't get Jean in a Marvel vs. Capcom game until literally MVC3, right? So, like, when you look at, like, Children of the Atom, right? You had Wolverine, Cyclops, and Storm, primarily. But then you had, like, Iceman, Colossus. Who else was in Children of the Atom? I want to say Rogue was in there also. Gambit, I think, if I remember correctly, right? So, like, and when you even look at the roster past that, like Marvel vs. Superheroes vs. Street Fighter and things like that, right? There are so many choices that are in those older Marvel vs. Capcom games that wouldn't happen now, right? Yeah, like, I want to say in particular, like, with the older Marvel vs. games, right? So, Children of the Atom, then Marvel and X-Men vs. Street Fighter, for example, like, they were pulling from a lot of, like, the 90s roster of the comics at the time in particular, right? And then when we started getting, like, Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter and Marvel vs. Capcom and things like that, and they started really kind of spreading the net out between a bunch of Marvel characters, like, we would get a couple of the popular X-Men characters, but we'd also get, like, just, like, popular X-Men and Marvel characters, like, so we get Spider-Man and things like that, but, there were a lot of, like wide picks, right? Like, Spiral. Like, Spiral was literally a character in, Children of the Atom. Eventually made it back into, like, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, right? Cable, all these other characters, right? But now with the way that, like, and you can see this in the Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite roster, especially on the Marvel side, it was all characters that were either going to get a push in the MCU or were otherwise like relatively popular in the MCU, right?
KO.
Right? And so that is sort of like the main weakness right now of
Shanty.
Marvel, from my perspective, because they are really obsessed with this idea that characters have to be recognizable from their
Ready?
from their cinematic universe counterparts. That limits a lot of, even like stylistically, a lot of the things that happen, right? So like case in point, right? Captain America, starting from his appearance in Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter, has basically had, and forward on from there, right? Has had basically the same theme, right? And it's a very good theme. But when you hear it in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, right, it's really weak, like musically, right? Because, for example, right, to my whole point about like the recognizability part, right?
Yeah.
They were like, okay, so, and this is just a thing that I think is part of why Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite isn't even like a bad game necessarily, but it just feels weak, right? Because Marvel, to a certain degree, was just like, yeah, these are the ways that we want these characters to be depicted, right? You can also kind of even hear it in the music. It's like, okay, the music is not as energetic and loose as it is in a lot of the other Marvel vs. Capcom games. It's very, there are parts of it that are very, especially for like the, especially for the Marvel side, that are very boringly and sort of like orchestrally arranged to represent, you know, generic, to sort of resemble generic generic MCU music, right?
KO.
Ah, shit. Yeah, recognizability, yeah, exactly, right?
You get the heart.
And especially because it winds up limiting, because, like, right, I know I keep talking about Infinite, and I keep losing my train of thought because I'm also in the middle of a fight, so forgive me for that, y'all. But, like, with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, right, you didn't get, like, any off-the-wall picks, really, right? It's all characters who were popular in the MCU or otherwise involved in the MCU at that particular point, right? You couldn't use the, like, we couldn't get any of the mutants because, like, at that point, right, with there's, like, the whole rights boondoggle, there's the whole rights boondoggle with, like, Fox and everything, insofar as, like, the X-Men and things like that, so you couldn't even really get them in.
KO.
And so, right, because of that, yeah, I also think that branding is something that makes media and creative stuff so boring. So, yeah, pretty much, right? Like, functionally speaking, I think that the main thing Marvel has to do is let go. I'm not even saying that's like, oh, stop doing MCU stuff, because they're not going to do that, right? But the thing I think they need to do, and this is ironically, for all that DC is like a fucking mess, right? This is something that DC does very well, right? When you sort of consider it. DC is willing to let a lot of different interpretations of their characters exist in different contexts, and they're okay with that, right? Because, like, you have like those animated DC movies, like things like, you know, Teen Titans versus, like, Teen Titans: The Judith Contract, and a lot of the other stuff like Son of Batman and things like that was going on for like a lot of, like, I want to say most of like the 2010s and things like that, right?
KO.
Like, DC was willing to like let the animated features be the animated features, right? Their movie features or the movie features, like they were fine with letting the product be perceived differently in kind of like different mediums, and they still are, right? Like there's that one, I don't remember the name of this Batman project right now, but like there's this one Batman project where it's basically just like cosmic gothic horror Batman or whatever that they're doing right now. I think it's like whichever work that Kevin Conroy last voiced before he passed on, right? Like Marvel wouldn't do that now. Like they wouldn't, unless it's like the comics. But like all their live action stuff. Well, yeah, like all their live action stuff now is like, no, we got to do it like this. Which I think. And I'm gonna be straight up about it. Yeah, Batman by Gaslight, or if that's the one I'm thinking of. But like, I think in particular that with Marvel, probably the reason why it is so concentrated like that, when you think about it, it was the Disney acquisition. And when you think about it, it makes sense, right? Because when you think about Disney, right? Disney is obsessed, like entirely up their own ass about like controlling, right? The way that their products are perceived, and they want no deviation from that, right? Like Disney is stuck on that.
It's over now.
Like Disney is like stuck on that, and I think that probably once Marvel basically got acquired by Disney, that is the thing, right?
Where to from here?
Because when you think about just the way that Disney handles Mickey, Donald, Goofy, right? All these other things, like, and how they're so obsessive about controlling exactly how those characters are presented all the time, right? And how they so fiercely defend this, that, the other. It kind of makes sense when you sort of frame it in that light, right? Disney ruining franchises? Why? Never. Yeah. So, this Arizona player isn't like bad, but they are swinging a little heavy on like things like launches and things like that. They're swinging very heavy on things like launchers and things like that, which you can't cancel in this game. So if you try to hit somebody with a launcher to knock them up and they block that hit, you can't do anything to like stop that. They also kind of keep trying to like catch me with like rope stuff, but they got me the one time, right? But they haven't been catching me with ropes a lot, which again, for Arizona in particular, right? I can talk game strategy for a second. If Arizona is not hitting you with her lassos, Arizona doesn't have magic. If Arizona doesn't have magic, that limits her options significantly. Not safe.
You walk the plank,
Shanty. Where to from here? Take your pick.
Okay, and then they're switching characters. But yeah, like, so the main thing to just talk about, like, the actual game for a second, right? Relatively super. Yeah, I couldn't remember if it was Kevin Conroy's last role. I couldn't remember if his last role or not. Right?
say that after I knock you down.
Round one.
Yeah, I couldn't quite. Yeah, I don't quite remember what it is, but basically, it's something like Batman played as like either a gothic or a cosmic horror, and I don't remember. I think it is Batman by Gaslight, but I don't remember for sure.
Over now.
Give me that key. I know you've got it.
Round two.
Whoops! I got done up. So yeah. Yeah, it might. I think it's Batman by Gaslight that I was thinking of, and I just couldn't remember. Yeah. That shouldn't have worked. I feel like that shouldn't have worked.
If it ain't bolted down, it's fair game.
I feel like that shouldn't have worked. I feel that was kind of scummy because I just did raw dash into overhead and it hit.
A female demon.
This one's a bit strong.
Say that after I knock you down.
Round one.
Yeah, so here we go. Okay, and then it gives her magic. Right, so Oleander's main thing is that she uses her actual... She basically charges up her magic with her D button, and then that gives her access to... that gives her access to, like, other things that she can do, like teleports and things like that. Oh, wasn't blocking. Alright, whoop. Bam!
Looking pretty salty over there.
I am really happy, honestly. I can talk about a thing now, actually. So, if y'all were here last week, and watched me play this game, right? If y'all were here watching me play this game like last week, right? You may remember that I fought against a shanty who basically cooked me, right? Like I was a piece of green banana. Right? And this, like, I got done up, right? And while I couldn't remember all the things that, that they did to me, I couldn't. I want to point out that I did in fact download some of the tech that they used on me. That's fair. I thought I was gonna get out of that. Headbutt.
If it ain't bolted down, it's fair game.
Look at Oleander's face. I didn't even realize it. Look at her face. She's just like, you really fucking did me up. I did. You're right. But yeah,
A female demon.
This one's a bit strong.
but yeah, like I got done up really bad last week, right? By two separate shanties. Like, really bad, right? Yeah. If you can learn something exactly. So I got my shit pushed in, but then I stole not all of it, but I stole like a good chunk of the tech that they were using on me. Nah, you can't do that to me. I can use parlay to block that shit. Fair. I traded that, but that's fine. But yeah, so like now, for example, right? The main thing that I have is that now in the corner, I now know how to use, especially if I have magic. Yeah, okay. I kind of deserve that. Ouch. Oh, and there was one of the teleports. Oof. Ah, damn, super didn't come out. I would have got the kill there, like, without having to risk getting caught out of it after they rolled out of the corner if I hadn't dropped the input. But yeah, right? And this is kind of the important thing about playing fighting games, right? Like, sometimes, and it's not an easy skill to develop, right? Sometimes you lose, right? And sometimes you lose bad.
After I knock you down.
But sometimes when you lose, if you can figure out how to take something from it, it's okay, right? Oops. I was messing around a little bit too much there and I got done up for it. And so now it's one of those things where, well, I don't know, like, I don't know all of like the really wild advanced tech that the one other shanty was trying to tell me. But for example, I at least now have sort of started putting together a game plan for how I gather up my my parlay stacks, right? At least if I'm not botching my inputs. Fair. So even though I got my shit pushed in by two separate shanties for basically the better half of 3 hours last week, right? I now know at least what? I at least know now at least one more new thing, right? I got cooked. Good games though. Hang on. I want to chat. Let me chat. Yeah, right? So, even though I got my shit absolutely fucking hyper turbo mega cooked last week, right? The payoff is that I was able to pick up just enough of from what the fuck happened to me to figure out some new tech to bring in, right? And that's kind of the important thing about fighting games, right? A lot of what they rely on is that, especially if you're really looking to like seriously improve, right? Like if you're thinking about like, yeah, I really want to be getting better at these, I want to really be like digging in and understanding how to improve, right? I really want to like get a better understanding of what it is that fighting games do and how it is that they work. It's one of those things where learning how to learn even from situations where you don't win is the critical part of improving at fighting games, right? And so it's one of those things where if you are playing a fighting game, right, and you are interested in like pushing forward, right? And this is the thing, when I say pushing forward, I mean like if you're really invested in trying to improve for whatever reason, whether you want to compete or not, a large part of it is just going to be dealt with, and I say this a lot also, a large part of it is going to be a test of how well do you deal with setbacks and how well do you deal with failure. Because inevitably, right, when you play a fighting game, you're going to lose. Like, it doesn't matter how good you are at a fighting game, eventually you lose, right? And that is not a mark of you being bad or being hopeless at it or whatever. It's just that inevitably you lose, right? Inevitably you lose. It's just what it is. And so the question then becomes, what do you take away from that? Once you have lost, right? Once you have lost, what is it that you take away from that? And it's not always easy, right? Sometimes you lose and then you're just like, I feel really shitty right now for having lost and it feels bad, right? But yeah, that's the thing. You gotta be willing to roll with that shit. And that's why you notice, and it's a thing that you may notice me do when I'm playing in a game where it's a lot closer and I'm losing a lot. I do get frustrated, right? I'm not gonna sit here and lie to y'all and say, oh yeah, y'all have never seen me salty in a fighting game. That's a fucking lie. Because y'all even see me acknowledge it myself with a salt shaker, that sometimes I get fucking salted up, right? It happens. But the key is like, what is it that you're going to do, or how is it that you try to move past that, or how is it that you deal with that? I got over losing fighting games and playing with my siblings. Yeah, like it's one of those things where it's like you just gotta like, you gotta be okay with losing. You gotta be okay with losing, right? I'm gonna see if I can switch pixel lobbies real quick because I know there's a lot of people who are speaking Spanish, which is not a problem, but like. I just wanted to make sure I'm actually in the right spot. Okay, I was in the right spot. Yeah, one thing about being afraid to see them super comfortable at failing. Yeah. Yeah, I'm broke as hell. But yeah, that's the main thing too, right? Is that... And that's also the hard part about improving at fighting games. Aside from like, okay, you know, like dealing with... Like, learning how to like deal with failure, right? The other part that's kind of difficult with fighting games is also... I should be careful about how I say that. Because it's not that you don't... The main thing, right, when you're playing fighting games, right, is that if you win, right, there's no shame in being proud of that, and there's nothing wrong with like being excited about that. But it's always a thing where basically, this is the way that I look at it, right? Unless I have reason to know or believe otherwise, basically what happens is that I step to anybody that I face in a fighting game unless I have reason to know otherwise, right? Like if we talk and you're like, oh yeah, like we're just new. I like, oh hey, I'm new to this fighting game. I'm not gonna like go full tilt on a beginner necessarily, right? And not even like because you don't deserve it, but it's like no, like you're trying to learn the game, and me just kind of like running up and like kicking the shit out of you is not going to help you learn what you need to do, right? So on principle, I don't go full force against new players in fighting games, but it's just because like if I know that you're new and we're like playing together, I'm not gonna just like go full force sweaty, because like the point is not for me necessarily to win. It's for us to sit down and basically, I'm gonna steal a term from Pat Miller here, because Pat Miller more or less pretty much thinks about this in a way that I really like a lot. The way that Pat Miller likes to describe it is that like he likes a lot of these things to martial arts because he does martial arts, right? And so in particular, right, with Pat Miller, right, one of the main things that he talks about when he talks about fighting games is that he likes to sort of see them much like he does with like martial arts. Like the thing that you do is basically have a conversation with the other person, right?
May that this pirate win. Forget that. It's gonna be me.
Round one. Fight.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You done yet?
Hurry up.
They're impatient. A little. Like they keep throwing a lot of cutlasses at spots where they think I'm either gonna press a button or do something else. And then when the cutlass either whiffs or I block it, that's when I punish them. I messed up the timing.
You done yet?
Ah. Yep.
Over now.
You better hold it down. It's fair game.
Player two.
Right?
wins.
So like I don't hold back when I play fighting games online because it's like
Player two.
we're just gonna go, right? Probably on their end the connection is no. Korean. They're like, you're Korean? Like, no. No. No, I'm from you. No. No, I'm not. I just have on the soul hat because it's funny. But like, no, I am not. Yeah. Yeah. Ah, it's funny. Yep, you can in fact change clothes. I just happen to have a couple of like free. I happen to have a couple of like free things from Guilty Gear because I think it's because I have like Guilty Gear installed is why. So they gave me like a couple of free things from Guilty Gear in there. I think. But yeah, Soul Headband Drip Strong, yeah. And it's even more funny because I'm not a Soul player, so it just I'm not a Soul player, which is what makes it even more funny. It's like, but why are you wearing his gear? It's like, because I don't have anything else to wear that I like. Well, but yeah, to go back to the thing that I was saying initially, right? Right, the thing that I was saying initially, because I had my brain fart right the fuck out. So, obviously, right, it's one of those things, right, the thing I wanted to finish my thought. So, the conversation that we were having before I lost my train of thought like 3 times in a row was like the whole thing about like how hard I go and the whole thing about like winning and losing in fighting games. To bring up the fighting game crossover again, I also really like a Magical Girl fighting game from different shoujo franchises. Yeah, the closest you get is Magical Battle Arena, and that's more. And Magical Battle Arena is more of like a 3D Gundam like than it is like an actual fighting game, I guess, which is fair. Good luck. Yeah. I guess it depends on which ones you would want to get to that would kind of dictate that. Because I could imagine it working in theory, but it's also just like who you're going to chase down for those. Okay, right, let me think about the... That is a good question, though. Like, it depends on which franchise you would want in, I think. Because the main thing that's always difficult about crossovers, right? Yeah, licensing is always going to be the thing, right? Because, for example, there is absolutely just a straight-up Sailor Moon fighting game. I can tell you that right now. One exists. And there is a community that plays the Sailor Moon fighting game on, like, Super Nintendo, I think it is. Rampage Gatling. What's up, dude? Mammoth. Shock. Calm. Falcon. Wolf. Woo! Hey, everybody from Basis Stream. Hi, if you don't already know me, my name is Shawnee. Call me the That Rushay. I make games, I play games. Games make do, basically. And we are currently playing some Them's Fighting Herds. I paused the game a little bit because there's a thought I've been trying to finish for like the last little while and I keep forgetting what it is. And then I'm going to take a break real quick. But let me do the shout out here. So shout out base prefect. So base prefect base underscore prefect. Thank you. Oh, strong bad's good old strong bad. Whew. I felt my backbones pop a little bit. I felt my backbones pop a little bit because it's been a long time since I thought about Homestar Runner. Maybe not that long, but long enough that I can't actually remember the last time I did think about it. Friday's been pretty good. We're chilling, having conversations about things like why probably, much as we would all like to have another good old-fashioned Marvel vs. Capcom fighting game, they're probably not going to get it because Marvel and by proxy Disney are too obsessed with like keeping content, like visual continuity really hard between between like the MCU and like other Marvel games. Is the Sailor Moon fighting game easy to find? It's on Super Nintendo. I don't remember the exact name of it right now. Off the top of my head, it's a Super Nintendo one. So if you're going to play it, as always, the answer is to emulate, probably. I think it's like, I can't remember the name of it because I don't play it that hardcore, but I know a community exists for it. There's at least one, if not two. I would have to go look up what it's actually called to and let you know what the what is. But yes, that exactly, base. But like the main thing that we were talking about previously was just like the whole thing about how like because Marvel and by proxy Disney is so obsessed with like everything has to like they're really obsessed with like not causing brand confusion, right? And how they basically more or less lean on a lot of companies who make their games to be like, y'all have to like be relatively close to like MCU style stuff and MCU this and MCU that. And sometimes they'll make references to like the comics and things like that, but because of how tightly Marvel is obsessed with like lining things up stylistically with the MCU, it kind of ruins sort of the looseness that you really need for like a good Marvel vs. Capcom game, right? But yeah, we're mostly just talking about that. Kettle, just remind me at some point. Kettle, just remind me at some point to go look it up. What the Sailor Moon fighting game is, the popular one, and I'll go do it. If it's Super Famicom era, it might be. Hang on. Let me go look. I think, let's see. I keep doing it on the wrong computer. Okay, it should be Sailor Moon. Yes, Sailor Moon S. Yeah. Yeah, Jogai Ranto Shuyaku Sodatsu-sen. Yeah, Sailor Moon S. That's the one. That's the one. That's the one. I just wanted to go look real quick because I'm like off the top of my head. I'm like now it's gonna keep bothering me. But yeah, this is the one. Oh, right. Lol. Hey, guess. Kettle, guess. I know you're looking, but look very carefully who fucking made it. All roads of anime lead back to ASW, I guess. Lamau. I don't even know if it was like anybody who was even at the company now. But seriously, I'm looking at the page for it right now on I'm looking at the page for it right now on Dustloop Wiki, and it says that Bishoujo Senshi Sailor Moon S Jogai Ranto Shuyaku Sodatsu-sen, known in the fighting game community as simply Sailor Moon S, is a fighting game developed by Arc System Works, credited under Angel, and published by Bandai. So, like, all roads lead to Arxis, I guess. I don't know. Shit. But yeah, there you are. There you go. But yes, Kettle, it's that one. It's that one. That's the one that I know of that is relatively popular. I know what I'm doing this weekend. Hades will have to wait. Yeah. So keep in mind that it is a Super Famicom game. So you should be able to play it on like a proper SNES emulator, but it's going to be in all Japanese. So keep that in mind. It never got a stateside release as far as I'm aware. So I would recommend going to the Dust Loop wiki and looking at the pages there, so you can get a guide as to like how to navigate through it and everything, because it's gonna all be in Japanese. So, all right, it is about an hour and a half into stream. I know that technically speaking, Shark is still lurking, but Shark would also like hyper turbo yell at me if I didn't get up and go use the restroom and stretch and everything and take a break. So, we're going to go on break for a little bit. And when I come back, we will continue doing as we do. So get up, stretch, take a break, water yourself, hydrate yourself, etc. We're back in like 3 to 5 minutes, give or take. That was a long one. I got distracted by a couple of things. Sorry. Yeah. I was gone a little bit longer than I was expecting. I got up to stretch and go look into a couple of things, and then wasn't actually looking at the clock. That's on me. But it's funny because despite that, I actually still remember the train of thought that I've been wanting to finish this whole time. From even well before the break, that I got distracted from right around the time that Kettle was asking that question about like the magical girls fighting game, and I'm like, yeah, Sailor Moon S exists, and then they were like, wait, what? It what? So yeah. So, the line of thought that I was having. So, to rewind the conversation back to the spot where I last left off. So, right, the thing that I was wanting to talk about that I kept then forgetting about because brain is doing brain things. So, there's a whole conversation that we were having about like losing in fighting games, right? Like, there's a whole conversation that we were starting to have about that whole thing. There's a whole conversation about like there's a whole conversation that we were having about like losing in fighting games and kind of how you deal with that and all these other things, right? And losing, winning, the mindset you have, right? So, and then I was dovetailing that. After that, I was dovetailing that into like, so let's talk about like how it is that this conversation also goes when you get into the subject of like playing with new people, because that's also important, right? And one of the things I was saying was that, yeah, like I'm not the kind of person that will go all out against somebody that I know is new to a fighting game. And it's not because it's like, oh yeah, haha, I like to sandbag because, you know, otherwise you're no good, blah, blah, blah. It's not anything like that, right? It's mostly just a thing where my line of thought is, if I know that somebody is new at a fighting game, I'm not going to like go turbo beast mode on them because I'll request and see if they'll fight me. Did I remember to switch screens? I think I remember to switch screens. Okay, I did. I might regret this, but let's see. Because that was 1,000 ping. That's not a good number. But right, the whole thing in particular was that. Oh yeah, ooh, that didn't work. The whole thing that I was going to get at was, oh yeah, they're having a bad time. Wolf and Council's having a bad time. Noted. But yeah, like my whole thing in particular was that with the way that we sort of right, winning, losing mindset, da 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 da. Right, new players, that whole thing, right, and like how you sort of get into the understanding of that mindset, right? When I fight against new players, I don't necessarily make a habit out of going full throttle, and it's not because like, oh, I don't respect them or what have you, but right, if we're going to talk about like losing and how you like learn things from losing, right, especially if you're a new player, it's one of those things where if things are happening too fast and you can't perceive any of what the fuck just happened, you don't learn anything, right? And so it's one of those things where if the thing that you do is you go into a fighting game and you go like newbie hunting or something, where you just kind of like beat the shit out of new players, we just kind of like beat the shit out of new players and just go like lol, lamau, haha, get that up, scrub, right? If you do that kind of thing, right? One is that basically, and this is the thing I was like trying to quote Pat Miller on. And for those of you who don't know, Pat Miller is a Guilty Gear XR Rev 2 player. I'm about to say, why is our ping so high? Please come down.
Take your pick.
No, not this character. Thank you.
Shanty.
Captain on the bridge. Well, not yet, but soon.
Yeah. So many people
Wonder what it's
don't
called.
realize the person doesn't know how they failed. They can't get good even if they want to. Yeah.
That's your magic pack.
Round one.
Ah, that's an overhead. Ah. Ah, I got hit by the overhead. Is Oleander Twilight Sparkle? Yes. Basically, yes.
Hey,
Oleander is basically the evolution.
Get in my way.
Yeah. Oleander is basically the evolution of like Twilight Sparkle. Yeah. Mhm.
Fight.
Or at least the character that was Twilight Sparkle in the original version of this game eventually became Oleander. Yes. And so Oleander's main thing is that she has to like manually charge her magic in order to be able to use some of her like more powerful options, like teleports and things like that.
Not yet.
Oops. Oop.
hey,
Too far. Ah, these things happen.
Finally. The business.
Oh, yeah, what we do?
So, right, the thing I was saying with the whole thing about like so Pat Miller is a Guilty Gear XR player,
Costs.
right?
You?
That's your magic pack.
Round one.
And one of the things that he says a lot about like fighting against people in fighting games is that you're having a conversation with somebody basically, right? Like so when you're having so when you're playing somebody in a fighting game, y'all are having a conversation. Like that's really what it is. And he believes the same thing about like martial arts too, for example, right? Like the way that people do things in fighting games is emblematic of like a thing that they are trying to say or express to you, right? And it's one of those things where, right, if you want to be like, especially if it's with somebody that you know is new, right? Oh, they delayed the wake up, right? It's one of those things where it's about like setting the terms of like being like a good conversationalist, right? Like setting the terms of like a good dialogue, talking with somebody, having a proper kind of like back and forth, right?
Business.
And so it's one of those things where if you just run up on somebody that's like new in a fighting game and you kind of just crush them and you're like, haha, get good, scrub, right? It's like, okay, there was no conversation that happened there, right? I should have done that.
Got it.
And so, like, right? Like, me and this Oleander player, we're having a conversation.
Away! Looking sniffy.
Ah, fuck. Couldn't get through it. Right? We're having a conversation, right? There's a lot of back and forth with that. This person is comfortable enough with how Oleander plays and how these things work, right? But yeah, like the conversation is just like they're saying, okay, so this is what I think about this. This is how I feel about this, right? And there's a lot of back and forth on that, right? And if someone isn't as used to the terms of conversation as you are, okay. Why is it that every person I play that waxes me is then like, let me show you how to play your character? I'm not upset. I'm just confused. It's like y'all really have to like do this thing? I know it's probably not on purpose, but I also admit that I feel a little bit like I'm like y'all are trying to like basically show me up. It's like this is how you play this character, actually, nerd. And it's like y'all don't have to do that.
Heyo. And now you walk the plank.
So it's like I'm not like okay. It's just more of like a y'all don't have to do this. Like you don't have to teach me how to play my character. Like picking my character in the mirror and then beating the fuck out of me. You don't have to do that. Okay, went for the hot there. Nah, fucked up. And yeah, Shark, that's the thing, right? Like that, and that's why I like the way that Pat Miller talks about it, where he's like, yeah, the main thing about this is that, right, you have a conversation with the other person just by like playing against them, right? Sometimes you may overread too much into that. Like I'm not entirely certain that this person picked Shanty just to like spite me necessarily, in as much as it's just like yep, exactly, Kettle. That's not I know. Fuck. So yeah, yeah, and so that's why, like, in a situation like this, right? Like, a situation like this, I don't expect this person to, like, hold back on me necessarily, right? Because, like, I've demonstrated that I kind of know what I'm doing, even if it's not, like, complete knowledge. Yep, fair. Okay, I saw that. I tried to jab out and got popped by whatever they threw out afterward.
Where to from here?
Me there to take what's mine. Me there to take what's mine.
Round one.
Oh!
Oh, okay.
And now you walk the plank.
Round 2. Fight.
Ah, fuck! Right? And it's interesting because of like... Oh wow, I actually hit... Oh. I got hit by 6-8, which is... Yep. Oh, okay. Hmm. So I could have teched out of that.
Where
And-
to from here?
Legit can't wait for Tekken 8. Now I've seen Xiao Yu. I also want to cosplay as her. Hmm.
Damn to take what's mine.
Yeah, no, her fit looks really good.
Damn to take what's mine.
And with Tekken 8 choosing to be a lot more on like the offensive side of things as far as like that heat system and what they want to do with that is very interesting. Okay, I managed not to get caught out too bad by like the... Nope, didn't want to do that. I wanted to do that. Okay. Oh, wow. The short hop right in front of me into JC. Just that. That was pretty cute. I respect it.
One more for Shanty.
Fight.
God damn. I didn't block the cross up correctly. Because there's basically like two... There's basically with Cutlass, right? Like that move, Cutlass. Shanty has a version where she does the upward cut but stays mostly in front of you. Then she has a version where she does the upward cut. Wow, damn, the hop. That aggressive word that the entire video made my heart sing like the devs get me. Yeah.
To wish. Where to from here? Take your pick.
We can tell ourselves a stowaway. It's me. The stowaway.
Round 1. Fight.
Please don't.
Whew. Ah, I thought that was safe. Nope. Guess not. I might have had to space that better for that to be safe. Let's see if I get...
hold it down, it's fair game.
Two.
Hate this. Please don't.
Okay. There we go. Ah, fuck, I got hit by the fucking JB. Ah! Or whatever that move is. It was active for so long. But Palm kind of needs it. I'm not... That move is active for so long.
Final round.
I know it's a staple in fighting games, but I hate the fact that some pay... Basically, the short answer is that it's because it's like DLC with basically every other game at this point, functionally. Where it's like, a lot of it is that... And this is not me necessarily saying this is right, but it's like, with the way that like fighting game costs... Well, not even fighting game costs. With the way that game costs in general are, some of it... It's something in the middle of like, I'm trying to think of like the best way to talk about it. Oh no, fuck. Oh, I'm dead. I'm looking at a Chia Pet, it's adorable. Yeah, a Chia Pet Green Lantern.
Rematch?
We got ourselves a stowaway. It's me, the stowaway.
Ready?
Fight.
Ah, fuck. Couldn't make it in time. Oh, I misjudged the distance on the cutlass just a little. Fuck. Yeah, so as you can see, right, there's a version of cutlass that stays in front of people and one that crosses behind. I used the one that stayed in front. Damn, I got hit by 6A. Yeah, in this palette specifically, she's colored like a Green Lantern. Like if you look specifically at the way that her color scheme is laid out, 100%. Especially considering that the puppy that she's with is also colored like a Green Lantern construct. Look. Nope, shouldn't have done that. Shit. Ooh, there we go. And it's really interesting because, like, this person, compared to, like, the last time I fought a palm player, like, I'm not, The blue lanterns are Hope, also hi, Shay, hi, Kettle. Yeah. Hey, alls. How are you doing? Ow. Fuck. Ow. Shit. Oh, right, before I forget, we have about 25 minutes left before the poll for Fighting Friday closes. So if you do, I want to say it's exclamation point FGC vote day, but I also might have fucked up the actual command, and I can't check it because right now I'm screaming. Let me see if I actually remember. Yeah, it's Fighting Vote Day then. I fucked it up. It's exclamation point Fighting Vote Day then. My bad.
Two from here.
We got ourselves a story. It's me. The story.
Round one.
But yeah, fuck, what was the thing I was saying? I completely forgot. I forgot my train of thought. I know that previously I was talking about something about, like, I think we finished the part about, like, how, like, fighting games are a conversation. So yeah, like, the conversation I'm having with this person is very different than the last time I fought another pawn player, right? Like, the last time I fought a pawn player was very much a, I don't want you to get near me type of talk that we were having constantly, right? Like, the other pawn player was doing a lot of, like, setting down of the pups and what fuck. Like, a lot of that was happening more often, but this person is more willing to kind of, like, just straight up fight me up close and not do a lot of stuff with dog, and not do a lot of, like, stuff with dog, right? Like, they're willing to, but it's not, like, a thing where it's, like, they're running the mix-ups and the setups for other extra dogs as hard as the other pawn player was.
Two.
Yeah, we take rest days. Those are good. Ah, fuck. I did the wrong one. And here's where I get... Okay. I pecked backward into the shenanigans and then died. Well, I'm not dead, because Palm doesn't do damage like that, but... Hi, Vallejo. Oh, no. 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 Not big. Not big. Not the bigs. I would like to not be grabbed, please. Oop. Ah, yeah, I got that up. I die.
Who wins? Where to from here?
I wish my chat button would work correctly without me having to come over here and do this. It was a good set. Like, I got done the fuck up, but it was a good set. No problem, I gotta go for a bracket. Okay. Yeah, damn, I'm just... But yeah, overall, not doing too bad, really. things are going. The weather picking up is nice. Maybe the worst I can say is that I didn't get a lot of sleep, or at least not as much sleep as I would have liked, like last night. That's about the only thing I can really say where it's like damn, I really would have liked to slept more tonight, like last night, but like yeah.
Give me the key. I'm gonna go and mash it up. Then if you take what's mine.
Ready?
Ah. I might have to figure out how to disable Steam overlay while I'm doing this, so that people on my Steam friends list don't have to worry about like getting. Okay, yeah, they're doing stance cancel stuff. Oh, I got fooled by the short hop. Dang. Damn, I'm free. I'm free. I'm free.
A shanty.
Round 2. Fight!
Coming to terms with chronic fatigue, it's rough. Oh no, I got hit by that because that has like startup involved. Alright, and then I got, wow. So, short hop JC works after that. That's good to know. Oh wow, I fell for it. Yeah, now I'm just eating the schmicks. God. Yeah, okay, they knew that was coming. They knew that was coming. And I got fucking done up because I tried to make a hard call out. I tried to make a hard call out and got fucking called out and got fucking read like a book. Yeah, I'm staying on this machine. So if this person didn't want to fight me, then they can leave. But I need fights. I thirst for more battle. Does everyone in chat suffer from some kind of sleep problem? I know I do. In my case, I'm reasonably willing to blame my ADHD, if only because it's one of those things where brain doesn't stop.
Shanty.
He's as good
Brain doesn't stop. Brain doesn't stop braining, and that's part of why I don't. That's why I don't go to bed early, easily, very often. It's one of those things where
God.
Water 'em, guys. Okay, that's a good one. It's like, where's all the rum? And Chancy's just looking around like, oh, yeah, I saw. Oh! Oh, wow! They tech that throw. That's actually pretty sick. That's pretty sick. I respect that. Whew.
It's over now.
Your treasure is my treasure.
Round 2. Fight!
Same, same shanty brain self. It's like, hey, more than half screen away, time for a full charge parlay. Absolutely. Oh, yep, that was good. They did the backward headbutt to avoid what I was gonna do, and then went from there.
Good loot on ya?
Final round.
Yeah, routines. Yeah. Yeah. So things like stop looking at this, like stop looking at the screen when you go to bed, etc., etc. It's like, okay, so like I try not to just be here with my thoughts, but like, okay. Nope. Ah.
KO.
Wait, is braining in the 90s and people just straight up pretend there's no problem and just shut? Yeah. Yeesh. But this is good. This is working because this is basically about the experience that I need, kind of. Just die a lot, get the shit kicked out of me, die a lot.
Take your pick. Shanty.
Captain on the bridge. Well, not yet, but soon. Wind's blowing in my favor today. Me dare if you take what's mine.
Round 1. Fight.
Let's see. Ah, fuck. I got hit by Sea Cutlass.
You done yet?
Ah, damn it. I wanted to get a parlay off and I fucked up the timing.
KO.
Your treasure is my treasure.
Round 2. Fight.
Again, just the mutual shanty. All right, it's mid screen. We gotta yell. So the thing that I definitely see this shanty doing that I'm gonna have to learn how to do at some point is yeah! There we go. Loosen up a little bit.
I know you've got to.
Oh, punning in the night. Oh my god. Vallejo! That was all. Okay, that's fair. Oh yeah, I see it now. Sorry, I was fighting for my life, so I just assumed, okay, puns, it must be Vallejo. And then I forgot which fucking Agents of Chaos I invited into my chat. Ooh, nice aerial push block. Nope, I got hit by the overhead. And the cross up. Damn. Okay. I got hit by the overhead and the cross up.
Good for you.
I feel a way about that. Yeah, like, that's... Yeah, okay. I'm learning a couple of things. Mostly that, for me, yeah. It feels like the thing that I like about, the thing, right? So, I guess I could go back to this other conversation point for a minute.
Take your pick.
I gotta recognize in puns. Yeah, so, like, to have this conversation thing, right?
Ain't no treasure.
And this is the reason why, for me, when people are the word kettle's taking a time, so just kettle. Yeah. Hey. As long as it works.
Win. Forget that. It's gonna be me.
Round one.
But yeah, like, to go back to the conversation thing for a second about, like, how, like, you know, and this is also why I think people being afraid of the mirror match is kind of like, I think that people being afraid of, like, a mirror match in a fighting game is kind of a shame. Because, right? You learn new things about your character from the mirror match, but also it's just interesting to sort of see how, like, there are different elements of how two people talk using the same tools, right? Whew. That almost missed. I would have been really fucked up. Like, salty fucked up if that had missed. Because I would have died. If that had missed, I would have actually literally died, and I would have been screaming. That poll closes in like 5 minutes, by the way. The one that Nightbot just posted closes in 5 minutes. So, if you've not yet voted on what games y'all want to see for Fighting Friday in April, you should do that. Oh no, I shouldn't have done that. I was trying to press a button and I got hit by super.
Hey up.
That's fair. I'm trying to press a button to try to like poke back out, and it's like, yeah. Hey Mojo. Yeah. Different shanty player. So in the like in the 2 times that I played this over the last 2 weeks, as in like last Friday and then this Friday, I fought like 4 different shanties. It's kind of wild. I messed up the punish timing. That was free. That was free. That was free. That was a free punish, and I was fucking around and fucked up the timing. Let's see. Oh no, no, no! Stagger might get me killed. Nah, wow. Ah, the 2B is so good. Fuck. Scream. Scram. Pain. Alright. Hang on. I wanna get off. I do not want to spectate. I prefer not to spectate. Let me off, please. I want games. But they're good. 100%. They good. But like, whew! Damn. But yeah, pushing buttons, that was me. Alright, so the poll closes in about 2 minutes. So it'll be interesting to see what we've got. Oh no. Ah, damn it, Shark. Wow. You actually went back. I'm gonna have to, I'll have to edit it to actually remove the, I'll have to edit it to remove the auto game that got added later. Because, let's see. Because, yeah, because my quote, the quote function will automatically put the actual proper day afterward, or the game and the date afterwards. I'm gonna have to remove that. Jeez. But damn, you really had to do me like that, for real? Why y'all like this? Why y'all like this? Why? What is the reason? What is the reason? Have I been saving that since shortly after that stream? Answer, have you met me? Somehow, this shouldn't surprise me, and yet. And yet. Is there a way to pull up the quote list? I want to say it's exclamation point quote list, but with a space in between those two. You do exclamation point quote and then list, and then it should give you the whole one. So as you can see, like the one that Shark just did, I have to go back and edit it to remove this game out of its mention. forgot about the Monster Rancher once. It flew away. Clicking sound. Milk stuff. I forgot. God. I forgot. Monster Rancher Battle Card Game Boy is just, it's a game. It's a game where things happen. And that's really all I have to say about that. It's a game where things happen. Okay. It's 8:51. So, technically speaking, when we have the poll closed for Fighting Fridays, I usually stop playing games a little early so I can actually go and look at the poll results and see what's what and figure out what we're doing. So we're gonna go take a look at that as soon as I can stop pressing buttons on the wrong fucking keyboard. As soon as I can stop pressing buttons on the wrong keyboard, we will take a look at what the poll results are. Okay. Well, surprising absolutely fucking nobody. Surprising absolutely fucking nobody. Channeling. That's fair. This game is like Bobo, watch Robot War. Yeah, Robopon 2 is a game. That's all I really have to say about that. I don't know, at some point, maybe I'll run cross version, because that's the version I never played. It's basically the same game, except that certain battery combinations do different things. Okay, let's take a look at these poll results. I'm getting distracted by all the things that are all over my computer, and my brain is doing the bad thing. Okay, so I'm just gonna be straight up. Surprising nobody, Strive came in first again. But this is top 4 this time instead of top 3. So we're still only playing Strive for like one Friday out of 4 in April, because now I'm taking the top 4 instead of the top 3. So where is here's the internet capture one. Alright, so yeah, surprising absolutely nobody, Guilty Gear Strive takes first place. So there's that. But now I have to do not 1, but 2 fucking spin runoffs between Herds and King of Fighters, as well as Street Fighter V and Type Lumina. So, thanks y'all. Let's spin the wheel and see what the fuck we get. As soon as I once again remember to stop pressing the wrong keyboard. So, Fighting Herds, and KOF 15. Well, more shanty. I'm not, to be clear, I'm also not upset about this. I'm just letting the wheel of fate spin as it will. So, Strive, Herds. Now we got to do a runoff between Street Fighter V and Type Lumina, because Rev 2 is taking the last spot. So, let's see. Street Fighter V. Melty Blood type Lumia. And it's Street Fighter 5. Alright. So, our 4 Fighting Friday games for next month are going to be Guilty Gear Strive, Them's Fighting Herds, Street Fighter 5, and Guilty Gear XR. But not necessarily in that order. Oh boy! Yeah, oh, Sophia. The polls always close. So, hi, Sabira. But also, just so that you're aware, basically every time that we have a poll, it always closes at 8:50 p.m. Eastern Time. So when you ask, hey, can I still vote for Them Fighting Herds? That shit closed, like, at this point, 6 minutes ago. XR and Strive, it's Guilty Glut, lol. Lamau, lol. So, yeah, but yeah, welcome back, Base. So yeah, basically those are the 4 games that we're playing for Fighting Friday in April. I'll figure out the order however it is, but Herds is probably going to be either in the 2nd or the 3rd week. I think we might do XR first. Probably XR, Herds, probably XR, Herds, KOF 15, and then Strive at the end to kind of like round it out that way. I think that about kind of like fits in terms of like when I think over the general like pacing of what we do or don't want. I think that's about right. So it's probably going to be, we start off with Street Fighter 5, not KOF. I'm having a hard, my brain shut the fuck down, didn't it? Let me look and see what. Okay, yes, I meant Street Fighter 5. Thank you, Shark. You're correct. I had to stop and look and remember what the fuck I was saying. King of Sheets. King of Sheets execs. Yeah. Oh no. Anyway, as in can't still vote. Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, as a general reminder, for people who want to be able to vote for May's games, I basically the 20x6 Xing. So basically, if you're wondering when we actually do the vote for the next month's Fighting Fridays, it's always the second to last Fighting Friday in the month. So if there are 4 Fighting Fridays in a month, if there are 4 Fighting... I forgot. I have this thing covering up my face right now, so y'all can't see me. If there are 4 Fighting Fridays in a month, we vote for the next game on the 3rd one. So the next time we're going to do a vote for Fighting Friday games is going to be April 21st. And then the vote will close on the 28th. I can tell y'all right now, in advance, that there's probably at least one Friday in May, depending on the timing of when Grand Blue vs. Rising does their online beta test thing. Depending on when that is, I'm already stealing a Friday in Fighting Friday for that, probably. But I don't know when that's going to happen. I know it's going to be for PS4 and PS5 only. But I have a capture card, so that's fine now. So I may very well just steal one of the Fridays in May to do that. And if Street Fighter 6 ever decides to drop one more beta before release in June, that's gonna happen too, but I don't know when that is. We'll see how that goes. At any rate, it's 9 o'clock now, so we're basically done with stream. Yeah, we are heading out. So don't go anywhere because we're gonna go raid somebody, obviously. But thank y'all for stopping by. I appreciate it. My links, as you can see, that Shark has just dropped off. Nightbot, that's not happening anymore. Nightbot, be quiet. Okay, Nightbot, be quiet. That's not happening anymore. So, my links. I write medium and long form game design articles over on Medium sometimes, like twice a year maybe, if I think of anything. Stream VODs are all available at youtube.com/ at SJHS Games. If you want to provide for the stream but don't want to give money to Jeff Bezos, you can do long-term subscribing over on my Ko-Fi, and I keep more of that money anyway. My phone has things that are like streamy gift things. Some of them help organize my desk. Some of them are Kamen Rider 01 gadgets for funsies. And all my other social links are on my card. We also have a Gilded server. If you scroll up a little bit, Nightbot dropped off the application link. All you really have to do is click that, read the rules, answer all the questions correctly, and you are good to go. I just learned Tekken 8 doesn't come out till 2024. Sadness personified. Makes sense. Kettle, we don't know. Yeah, like, we literally don't know whether or not Street Fighter 6 is going to get onto Game Pass or not. I know it is more than likely going to be cross-platform release, but we literally don't know. We just kind of gotta, like, we gotta kind of just, like, shrug and wonder. Too early to tell. Maybe it will be, maybe it won't be. But yeah, it's not coming out till like June 2nd, so don't know. Oh yeah, and then in case you missed it, there's the Gilded link again. But all right, y'all, I will be back on Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time playing more Legend of Legaia. I think I figured out how to get past the boss that we're stuck on. I remembered how I finally did it last time without having to go back and look at my old stream archives. So we're probably just gonna open up that stream with me cheesing that fight immediately because fuck putting any actual effort into that, and then we're gonna continue. And then yeah, next Friday we'll. Oh yeah, all right. Thank you, Shark, for reminding me. Technically speaking, my stream anniversary is not on Sunday, but is the closest day to my stream anniversary. So you may want to come by on Sunday, even if it's just to like hang out, because apparently I'm in for a gift or something. I don't know. That's gonna be a thing that happens because apparently at some point my community decided that for my stream anniversary that would be the thing that they do. So technically the actual stream anniversary date is technically the date itself is what day? I'm gonna remember. Technically, it's April 3rd, but I'm not streaming on that day. So basically, Sunday is like the day right before. So that's about as close as we're going to get. It'll make 3 years. So come by for that. Maybe I'll be bothered to go try to find a cheesecake somewhere or something to celebrate now that I remember that it's happening. So, thank y'all for watching. I'm going to go find us somewhere to go hang out. So give me 1 second and let me do it on the good computer. Because how do y'all know the day? It's literally in if you go to the Gilded and you go to that channel that says all about the gang, it's like the second or third thing that's listed there. Once I actually remembered what the fuck the day was, I put it up. I put it in both the Discord and over there because it's like, yeah, gotta remember it. My own personal stream of Oh, how do you, like, know it? I literally just went back as far as I could in the records until I found, like, the first day that the graph went up. It was either that or I remembered to actually put my second day up on YouTube at some point and then backdated it, like, one Saturday to figure it out. It was one of those two. I want to say that I probably went back and looked at my actual... streaming records and figured out what the day was based on that. Is what I want to say is how I did it. But shrug. All right, let me go find us the person to go hang out with and stuff. Let's see who's up. Who can we go hang out with? What are they doing? What chill things are they up to? We haven't seen Adrian in a little while. And I kind of want to go hang out with Adrian. because we haven't gone to see Adrian in a little while. I miss hanging out with Adrian. It's pretty chill. He's talking about vinyls today. Are we in a vinyls mood? Yeah, you know what? We are. We're in a vinyls mood. So, okay, Adrian. Quite literally one of the best people at doing just hosty shit that I know of, flat out. Adrian's real good at that. He'll do sponsored streams sometimes, but then every now and again, like what he's doing today, is something called Wax on Wax. So he basically like sits down with like a person, right? And they just talk about like vinyl records and shit, like their favorites and all that other kind of stuff. Man's good at his job, and his job, he makes it entertaining. So we're gonna go hang out with Okadrian, hit him with a good old SJH, just raids quiet like when we get in, because you know it's interview time. We don't want to like interrupt the flow, and we'll just chill while he's talking with Ellie Joy Panic about like the whole thing about Wax on Wax and how vinyls work. So till the next time I see y'all, please stay safe. Wear a mask. Don't go out if you don't have to. And generally speaking, be excellent to each other. But not to racists, bigots, sexists, and especially today of all days, especially not TERFs. Nah. Bump that. So, till the next time I see y'all, whenever or wherever that is, bye.